Hey there. I hope you're all well, and I hope that you enjoyed trying to find the who, what, when, where yesterday in the newspaper article. And we're going to just keep going, even though I'm not with you, so that you can get started on this really fun and interesting way of thinking about writing, about things that happen, events that happen in our communities, and eventually thinking about events that happen in the world that we can write about and express and teach to the world. So, right now, when you think about what we're doing, we are going to be thinking about an event that's just taking place in our own very own 6A classroom. And the big deal about this is that there are a lot of people in your life who would love to hear about what's going on in the classroom. I know there are people in the school that want to hear about it, people in the community who want to hear about it, your families. I bet you've got maybe some family members who don't even live in Deerfield or in Montague or in Greenfield, wherever you are, who would love to hear some news about what is going on in my friend or my cousin or my grandson or my granddaughter or my nieces or my son or daughter's classroom. So, this is a great way to communicate with people that you know and love and care about what's going on in your life. And what better way than to be writing about it in a newspaper article? So, if you remember yesterday, you can take a look at the screen here. Yesterday, you did this really important work of highlighting in the articles that you were given, thinking about the who, the what, the when, and the where. And we color coded them, right? So I went ahead and did that some more in the newspaper article that I shared with you yesterday. I even did it in the captions, and I continue to do it within the article itself. So now that you've done that, you're all understanding a little bit about how this is going to work. And one of the things that you are going to be starting with, and we're all going to start this, is our own newspaper article about what happened last week when we had a headstand competition in 6A. So I did this last year with a student. Her name's Lily Josephs, and she and I had the competition. And we wrote as a class a newspaper article, and I wanted to share it with you because I wanted to just give you a little bit of a glimpse into what does this look like going from reading newspaper articles that you've all read. What does it look like when we take an event like a headstand and transfer that into a newspaper article? The most important thing you want to be thinking about, right, is, I bet you know it, the who, the what, the when, and go ahead and say it, the where, right? So we decided last year for fun to name our newspaper 6A Gazette. Now we will think of our own newspaper article, our own newspaper title. Might not go with the 6A Gazette, but that's really not important right now. We will think about that though. But what we're going to be doing is eventually you're going to think about a photograph, and we can talk more about that. But what I want you to do today is to get right in to writing the article. And what I want to teach you today is that when we study a mentor text and we understand in journalism that newspaper articles will include the who, what, when, where, you will also be including the who, what, when, where in your own articles. So I'm just going to share with you a tiny bit, and I'm not going to share too much, but I want to share with you a little start, the beginning of the newspaper article. So the first thing we did was we got the picture. Actually, that wasn't the first thing we did. We actually wrote the article first, and then we got the picture and we wrote the caption. But we did come up with a heading. So in this case, our heading was heading into a competition. Get it? Heading, headstand, heading. So we did that. And then you can study what we did here. We wrote 6A are the staff writers. You will actually want to put your name as a staff writer. And then what we did when you look at our article, we wrote down South Deerfield. All newspaper articles have the place of where it takes place. You're going to want to do that also. You're going to start your newspaper article with the town in which our headstand took place, which is South Deerfield. Now, go ahead and take a look at the text here. And what we're going to do is read it and think about, did the authors of this article, did they include the who, what, when, where? So I'm going to read it out loud, and I'm going to ask you after each sentence to pause and stop and jot, or to stop and talk with each other in the classroom. What did we do? Did we include the who, the what, the when, and the where? Okay, you ready? Okie doke. You might even want to take out a sticky note right now. So if you need to pause the video, you can do that and just jot down what we're doing here, okay? All right, so South Deerfield. It was 12:02 on January 29th, 2020, when sixth graders in Deerfield Elementary gathered around a small yellow gym mat watching a much anticipated competition. Okay, sixth graders, I am thinking about this lead that we wrote last year, and I did not write it. My students and I came up with it all together. And I'm thinking this is a pretty awesome lead because it's definitely got that time, it's got the date, it's got the who, which is sixth graders, it's got the where in Deerfield Elementary, and it's definitely got the what. What did they do? They gathered around a small yellow gym mat watching a much anticipated competition. Do you see, sixth graders, how already in this newspaper article, the writers of this article started thinking about that who, what, when, and where? This is precisely the work you are going to do today. You are going to be thinking about reflecting on that day when we had our own headstand. And you might want to be thinking about it in terms of, well, it obviously there wasn't a yellow mat, right? But what did we put our heads on? You can also think about the what. What was going on? We had to keep some distance, right? It's COVID. We have to keep our distance 6 feet apart. You might want to include that as part of your what. I want you all right now, pause the video and just talk amongst yourself. What were some of the other whats? Because as writers, we need to share with the people who were there and just do some reflection. Well, wait, what did it look like? What did happen? Who was there? What was going on? Where were we? And when was it? So go ahead and pause and just do a little chat among yourselves and think about all of those little details. Okay, sixth graders, so you've paused and you've talked about it. Now, what you can do is just continue going. You are going to be writing about this experience, this headstand competition. And I remember how it started out with Gabby and I getting on our heads. And I'm going to slow it down a little bit and write that small story about Gabby and I standing on our heads. What were we resting our heads on? What were people saying? What were the sounds? What were people doing? What were the comments? Was there anything else going on in the school? I'm going to be writing all of those details. And then I'm going to just keep moving forward with my article. But here's the thing, sixth graders. You don't ever want to stop thinking about the who is there, the what was happening, the where, and the when. So I can't wait to see you on Thursday. I can't wait to see what you start with this article. You're going to write long and hard. You can use the newspaper articles that you have as mentor texts to study. If you get a little bit stuck, go ahead, read them, and think about, what did this author do that I can do? Sixth graders, I can't wait to see what you write on today and tomorrow. And then we're going to all just look at it together, read our articles, what we have so far on Thursday. And I just hope you have a lot of fun. And we'll be thinking more about different articles that we're going to be writing in the future. And keep that in mind as you're reading and as you're writing these newspaper articles.